What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today, this is going to be the first meta update for PvZ Heroes. I'm going to be showing you 5 plant decks and 5 zombie decks that I consider right now to be the strongest in the game. Making this video so you can quickly reference what the strongest decks are. You'll also be able to see which changes I've made to these decks as I've played them more since I posted them on YouTube. All of these decks do have a dedicated YouTube video, so if you want to hear more of a deck explanation and see some gameplay, you can totally just search up the name of the deck and it will come up. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. I might make this a regular series and do this every month or two. Anyway, let's begin, and I'm going to be starting with Beta-Carrotina. Now, the way I'm going to do this is explain why first, I'm adding every single one of these decks to this list, why it's making the top 5, explain very briefly how to play the deck, and at the end, I will be giving each deck a power score out of 10 and also a fun score out of 10, so you will be able to also know, just in terms of how enjoyable these decks to play, what you should be playing right now. So we're going to start with Beta-Carrotina. Now, aggro has been nerfed in PvZ Heroes, which does make the remaining aggressive decks a lot stronger. Like, there's no, Infinity aggro that was nerfed, and there's no Haunted Pumpkin like Solar Flare aggro. But Beta-Carrotina aggro has been super buffed since the patch, and this is a really, really strong deck that you're playing aggressively. You're just trying to put as much tempo as you can on the board every single turn, and the deck, my version of the deck, is built around Marine Beam, so you really want as many amphibious minions you can in the first couple of turns. That's why I'm running a whole bunch of 1-drops, including Sting Beam. You're always doing a lot of damage with your Admiral Navy Beam, definitely making this an aggro deck, denying their removal with Forget-Me-Nots, but then getting these huge plays with both Marine Beam, which is a huge stat card, even if you have like 2 amphibious minions on the board. This is a 5/5, it can sometimes be bigger than that, and then of course the Navy Beam, which makes all of your cards, amphibious cards, grow by 1/1. Particularly the Rhotabega gets hit really well by Navy Beam, because then it's doing 6 damage per turn, which is just ridiculous for a 2-drop. The things I've changed since I streamed this is the Brainanas and the photosynthesizers. I added some more of those in, maybe leaned a little bit away from the cattails, but if you want to go more the cattail route, go for it. Super, super powerful deck. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 in terms of power, and it's really fun to play too, so I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 for fun. Also, by the way, you can totally do this deck with Citron. I just prefer Beta-Carrotina for the superpowers, since the Insane Uproot is an amphibious, and then, the genetic amplification makes the amphibious minion. I like to just sort of base the deck more on Marine Beam, but you can totally do it with Citron. It's probably better with Citron, to be honest. I haven't really played a lot with Citron. I just love the fact there's a top-tier Beta-Carrotina deck right now. That just really makes me feel happy. All right. So the next deck that we are doing in terms of super, super powerhouse is going to be meta mid-Rose. Rose is the best hero in PvZ Heroes. Let's be real, guys. Rose is really good at denying minions with her Go to Find Transmogrify, and really good, and Cob Cannon, which is a really good removal card. Still a very good card here. And then also good at the best hero at removing tricks, having access to Brainana and the Dark Matter Dragon Fruit, which are going to be the finishers in this deck. And then Rose also has Heal. So you're running so many powerful strategies with Pepper MD, Ketchup, Little Buddy in the early game in order to really break your opponents. If they're playing aggressively, you're able to break that easily. Rescue Radish, really good with the Little Buddy in order to pop that back in your hand. You can even Rescue Radish Brainana on turn 9. Really also awesome thing that Rose can do, only Rose can do, is Astrocado. When it dies, you get the little Astrocado Pit. For 1 cost, can turn into an Astrocado. So you wait till turn 7, you play Astrocado Pit and Brainana on turn 7. They can't answer that little 0/1. So you basically get a 1-cost Astrocado for free. Really, really awesome deck. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10 in terms of power. If I have to pick really one deck right now on the plan side that I just feel like getting an easy win, this is definitely going to be it. I'm not going to say this is a super fun deck. It's super, super sweaty. We also have the Wingnuts in order to deny quarterly bonus. This is a very complete deck. In terms of fun, I'll give this a 3 out of 10. But yeah, winning is also fun. So definitely, probably if you just wanna just a guaranteed win, that's probably the plant deck I would recommend to you. All right, next we are going to be doing Wall Knight, a really, again, powerful deck. You got the early game heals, And then you have some very good anti-meta cards, which is going to be Wingnut, very good against quarterly bonus. Pecanolith is just ridiculous right now. It dies to Rolling Stone, but there's no Fruitcake anymore that does 7 damage. It does 5. This is a really strong card, especially with Wingnut, because it's turning this into a 7 attack guy, and with Cob Cannon, because now this has its 6 power back. Uh, the really OP card that this deck utilizes is also Gravitry. Sometimes putting a couple of these on the board just automatically wins the game because it wins trades against it absorbs so many resources from your opponent, and it's untrickable. And zombies are really relying heavily on rocket science for their removal, and it just does not hit Gravitry. It hits Fig. I'm actually not showing you any Fig decks in this. I like the Soul Patch. It's fun. And it really, again, counters a lot of things that the zombies do. And of course, 3 Walnut Bowlings for the big finish. Just control them with your heal and with your many removal cards. Set up your mid game and set up your late game. Deck did extremely well on stream. So in terms of power, I'm going to give this not quite as good as Midrose, but I'll give this an 8.5 out of 10 for power. And fun, I'll give it just a 5 out of 10. It's a pretty basic deck. Nothing flashy happening here. All right, the next one that I'm going to show you, which is a very powerful and very fun deck, is the OTK Grass Knuckles. This is going to be Gravitry, Espresso Fiesta. So again, Gravitry, a really, really high value card, especially when you have Espresso Fiesta, because now this Gravitry is doing a 21 damage combo, which is ridiculous with its huge 7 attack. Grass Knuckles has really become a control hero now that aggro has been nerfed. He really is able to control. Forget-me-nots you're kind of using as a control card in this deck, not a tempo card. You definitely don't want this getting hit by the Galacta, but Galactic Cactus got nerfed, but this is still very valuable again as a control card. The 1 health doesn't matter. This is still doing 3 damage and a big field clear to what your opponents do. A lot of early game removal. The Pear Cub also not only is a good removal card because you can play it in front of something and it makes a good trade very often, but it also gives you a 5/4. Which is going to be a really good target for your Espresso Fiesta. It gives you like another source of power. It's really cool that we're also utilizing like Body Gourd that can give you time to shine. Prevents damage, gives you time to shine, which is part of your win condition. You can easily win the game with just Gravitry and time to shine sometimes. We got heals in the deck with Pop and Poppies, grave removal, big removal, small removal. A really, really strong mid-range control deck. And I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for fun because this is really, really fun to just set up these monsters and espresso them all in one turn. In terms of power, I'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. It doesn't have the super reliable control that healing does, but it is pretty solid. Give it a 7.5 for power, 8 for fun. And the last plant deck that I'm going to show you, kind of similar to the Grass Knuckles deck, is going to be this Chompzilla deck. That now this is utilizing heal in the early game. They're really strong. And also has Click P, which is one of the strongest early game strats. So it's got that going. Then you have a little bit of ramp. You have your Wingnut to counter quarterly bonus. And you're ramping to 2 really, really strong cards right now. The 3-headed Chomper and the Potatosaurus. Potatosaurus is kind of similar to Gravitry in the fact it's a huge minion. And they can't answer it with their rocket sciences. So this will stay on the board. And you're able to use Espresso Fiesta on either your Potatosaurus, on your 3-headed Chomper, or even on a Pepper MD that grows a lot. It's really, but Pepper MD is even better with Chompzilla than Rose because you do have the Geyser superpower. So you can get a huge Pepper MD and just espresso them down. Really good control cards like the water balloons, really, really solid. Yeah, this is a really, really powerful deck. I'll give it sort of the same as the Grass Knuckles, 7.5 for power and 8 out of 10 for fun, because really, really fun. I love Espresso Fiesta. It's so much fun. All right, let's move right along to the zombie side. Oh boy, I'm gonna shake things up a little bit here with a couple of these, but the first one is gonna be an obvious pick. The second one is the entire community is sleeping on a deck right now. I'll show you that right after Valk Stash for Brainstorm. So this deck is super OP. First of all, it's an OTK Valk deck, which automatically is really, really good. Valkyrie, this is the strongest finisher in PvZ Heroes, period. The fact that you're able to combine this with a Mustache deck, mustaches are broken. They're absolutely broken. Mustache Waxer, the only key to playing this deck is play patiently. Make sure your Mustache Waxer gets up to 4 health before, don't commit it on the board and just leave it at 2 health and hope that you're going to be able to bungee plumber make sure that you're playing it with a Grave Robber or with a Quasar, ideally. And once this has 4 health, this takes up way too much resources from the opponent to deal with. Usually this will just be around for the entire game. And you can have several Mustache Waxers playing all your cards for free. Huge amount of power, and at the end of the day, every time they remove one of your early game cards, the Valk is going to be coming in, just growing in your hand. You want a hard mulligan for Valkyrie in this deck for sure. And then for Mustache Waxer. The Viking, also a huge source of power. You're going to be able to, let's say, play a Mustache Monument or teleport it in, and then play just a Viking on it the next turn, and this drains their block meter. Does a ton of damage. Really, really strong deck. I'm going to give this a 10 for power, because this is arguably the best zombie deck. Obviously, it's not running quarterly bonus. We don't count that. In terms of fun, this is also really, really fun. So I'll give this an 8 out of 10 for fun. Guys, if you haven't played this deck yet, do it now. Here's going to be the big one. There is a deck the entire PvZ Heroes community is sleeping on, and it is OTK Cat Lady. This is one of the first decks I did since the patch, and I do not see anybody playing this deck, and this deck is insane. This is so OP. You guys have to try this. Cat Lady has received a huge buff. Now, it has less health than before, but Cat Lady now, because of the buff to Yeti Lunchbox, OTK Cat Lady is disgusting. This turns each lunchbox effectively adds now, instead of 4 damage to a Cat Lady, it adds 5. And this makes a world of difference when you're trying to one-turn kill an opponent like this deck does. You're controlling with the early game and then just gathering combo pieces. You need a teleport, you need a Cat Lady, and then you need 2 lunchboxes now and a bonus attack, and that is 20 damage. Again, you teleport, Cat Lady, lunchbox. Each of these add 2 plus 3 because they are pets. The Cat Lady now has 10 attack, and you use a bonus attack. It'll do 10 from the Lurch for Lunch, and then 10 during the attack phase. You'll have an open lane usually. It's so amazing. The other thing you can do is just teleport Cat Lady and then play either 4 lunchboxes, which you can easily get because we're running Yeti. You're basically spamming Yeti on turn 3 and turn 4 and turn 5. You're just spamming this over and over. You can teleport these in too to make sure that you get it back again the next turn. So you can, even if you don't get your bonus attack, you can still do 20 damage in one turn because you literally just teleport Cat Lady and then play either 4 lunchboxes or 3 lunchboxes plus, which is familiar. This is a pet trick that makes a pet zombie, so it does buff Cat Lady 2 times, giving it 6, so you can use 3 lunchboxes to get to 15, and then the Witch is familiar to get to 21. We're running also 3 Scroll Herders to remove the wing nuts. That's really the main purpose of this. It also can draw out grave removal, so your teleportation zombie, a very important combo piece. You don't really want to be leaving Cat Ladies on the board and letting your opponent respond to them. You want to be teleporting it in, but the scrolls will absorb perhaps some grave removal from your opponent, so the teleportation zombies can survive and teleport your Cat Lady in. The only real answer to this deck is Brainana on 6, Brainana on 7, Dragon on 8. So if you're against a Smarty hero that gets a godlike, trick removal hand, then good. That will beat this deck, but otherwise, guys, this is the real deal. Try this deck. For power, I'm giving this a 10, and for fun, I'm giving this a 9, because there's really nothing more enjoyable than just your opponent's at 20 health and their health is just gone because you have a combo in your hand. I love combo decks. Guys, you have to try that one. If there's one deck you got to try, that's definitely it. We have to see some more OTK Cat Lady. I'm not exaggerating. All right, we're going to be moving right along here to the third zombie deck, which is Smash Gargs. There are a number of Garg decks. Gargs are really strong right now because a lot of them got like huge buffs. This one's running Deep Sea Garg, which is a really overpowered card. But also, again, the meta has slowed down, so it does make sort of controlling into more late game threats, so that makes those decks a lot better. I do have a version of this with Z-Mech that utilizes the Hippity-App Garg and the Frankatar, 2 very strong 5-cost Gargantuars that the Crazy class can control, so you can use. So the Z-Mech deck is also really good. I prefer the Smash version because it has just really, really solid finishers. The idea of the deck is, again, control your opponent, running the control package for the Beastly class. Alien Ooze is also buffed, and Alien Ooze also works really well with your Black Hole. It'll suck something in. Alien Ooze does 6/6, otherwise this will just be 3/3. You can use your Black Hole to set up, to prevent your opponent from removing, putting something in front of your Gargologist, and play your Gargologist on turn 3 in this deck. And then on turn 4, you can play one of your Gargs. I didn't run like Supernova Garg in this deck because it doesn't really have enough of an impact on the board. It's just a big clump of stats, but these 3 Gargs have a ton of impact in terms of drawing you cards, making more Gargs, or just giving everything that you play on the board real buff. You could run some Supernova Gargs maybe instead of the Bounty Hunter. I prefer this as a control card, even though it is pretty weak into Fig. For power, I will give this a 7.5 out of 10, and for fun, I will give this an 8 out of 10. I love playing Gargs. Really happy that that's working, and again, really, really strong. Not exactly like OTK Cat Lady and Valkstash, but really, really strong deck. Very, very solid. The next deck that I think is also another sleeper that people are not playing is some version of this deck. I prefer Bad Moon Rising, but if you want to run Blob instead, you can totally do that. You can run really any finisher instead of Bad Moon Rising. I love the Bad Moon Rising because you can get it, first of all, it's really fun, and second of all, you can get that 2 turns earlier with your Gentleman Zombie, which is awesome. Turn 5 Bad Moon Rising. The reason this deck is so powerful right now is because it counters the meta. Teleport Shark is really good, again, except for into Brainana. And if you're against a Rose, you can spam this usually and get away with it. Teleport Shark counters the meta really, really well. It counters all the figs. It counters Gravitry because you can just stick a little thing on the board and then, you teleport your Shark in a different lane and all of a sudden that Gravitry just dies for free. Really, really strong. And then you also have Barrel Barrels, which has a similar effect. You're able to remove those big mid to late game cards like for free, for nothing. Gentleman is really good with the Thinking Cap. You'll be able to play both of these powers. Thinking Cap plus both powers on turn 4 if you have a Gentleman giving you extra. And then this is a finisher. It is a little bit of a meme, but again, you can run Cowboy. You can run any finisher you want. I love the Bad Moon Rising, and of course Shark with the Fire Rooster, really good. This is also really good at removing some pesky early game, especially like amphibious decks. Like you can just hit a Rotavega with this and it's just dead, which is awesome. All right, and the final deck that I will be showing you, which is a deck I streamed recently and it did quite well, is the Flag Conjure Neptuna. Now, included in this, I'm going to include really all of the Flag decks. We did a really good one with Z-Mech, and we also had a version with the Smash that did quite well. That was more of a pet deck, so it plays a little bit differently. I'll show you the Neptuna one, which is my favorite because of how well it utilizes the amphibious lane. Now, the new thing about Flag Zombie is this is really the remaining aggro deck for zombies, since again a lot of the other aggro decks like pirates and stuff have been nerfed. But the other reason, because Flag Zombie works really well with leftovers. That's giving you, it only costs 1 now, and it's giving a 1/1 buff to everything on the board. Flag Zombie lets you easily just spread so many minions on the board. So huge synergy there. The cool thing about Neptuna is the fact you run Ducky Tube Zombie, which is a very good card even just to spam on turn 1, because it turns into a 2/3 and then a 3/4. It's like a must-answer 1 cost, which is really cool. You also, again, have the Octopult. So you can get these big plays with 5 guys on the board, and then you're buffing them all with your leftovers, with your going viral, or with your Warlord. Really strong option in this deck too. We're also utilizing the synergy of Flag Conjure. So like your Space Time will make things cost 1 less. Your Flags making things cost 1 less. All of a sudden your Buried Treasure with a Space Time and a Flag on the board, the Legendary costs 3 less. There's a lot of really cool combos you can do with that. Same thing with Middle Manager. You can end up just all these really expensive cards costing way less. You're playing them too early and you just out-tempo your opponent. So in terms of the Flag, I mean, let's just focus on this one. I would say in terms of power, Flag has got to be like 7.5 or 8 out of 10. In terms of fun, this particular one, I'll give a 9 out of 10 for fun, because Flag Conjure is a really, really fun deck to play. And that's going to be all for now. So those were the top 5 plant and zombie decks. Let me know again if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll make this into a series. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. This is Fry. Making content for you guys is a full-time job, and it's only possible with your support. Click the link in the description to join my Patreon for access to exclusive streams, deep fry podcasts, private video calls, and more.